Hello you guys and welcome back to another review. Hang on a second, let me kill this big motherfucker. Okay, hang on a second. Yeah, I think that hurt him. Okay, let's go. In one sentence, I'm fucking glad that we finally got a genuine old shooter again. It's pretty, it's fun, and most of all, it is just a plain old school fast-paced shooter without having to turn to COD games for that. So thank you God. Now I could leave it at that since there's never much to say in any review about any old school shooter. But I'll try to do my best to say what's great and what's bad about Wolfenstein: The New Order. Anyway, let's talk about the background setting of this game. You're located in a parallel universe in the 1960s where the Nazis have won the war and are dominating the world through sheer terror and very advanced technology like plasma and laser weapons. Your job is very simple. Stop the Nazis from the inside out and save the world. Now, how long has it been since we had such a simple job in any game, right? So basically it's not a very hard story to follow, although they do take their time to do some proper character development and provide them with their own unique attitude and personalities.
Don't bullshit me. Bullshit. 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 Bullshit.
Now to make a small comparison to another game, for those who have loved the latest Shadow Warrior, they will have a blast playing this game, because it is just as fast paced and crazy in the coconut like that game. What I mean with being crazy is that Wolfenstein allows you to dual wield many of the guns you find and perform various combos to kill your enemies with, like doing a headshot kill streak of 3 kills while you're sliding over the floor. In fact, those combos are needed to unlock many of the skills in this game. Now, unlike other games where you need to earn skill points just by leveling up and spending the skill points in your skill tree, this game does it a little bit different. It kind of forces you on a different path. If you open the skill tree in the menus, then you'll see which combos you will have to perform in order to unlock that particular skill that is linked to that combo. Now, some are very basic, but some are extremely difficult, like the one I explained earlier. And they're not for the average casual gamer, which is something I really like in games lately. Together with the news of a new Unreal Tournament releasing and the latest Shadow Warrior, I think that old school shooters are making a comeback. And it doesn't even matter if those games don't earn a lot of sales, because they don't even cost a lot of resources to make compared to huge open world games like Grand Theft Auto 5 that consumed a hefty $270 million to make. Anyway, let's talk about the guns, shall we? Like I said before, you can dual wield a lot of guns in this game, but at first you'll start out with just basic gunpowder powered weapons, like your basic shotguns and assault rifles, for example. Phew, I struggled a little bit to pronounce that sentence. And you will start out with a small welder tool as well, but as you progress further into the game and start to get ready to hit the Nazi moon base, then you will find plasma and laser powered weapons all over the place, and your small welder tool becomes a bigger multifunctional weapon. It can be used as a railgun and at the same time as a cutting torch that will cut through thin objects like air vent grates, or even cut a small hole through thin surfaces like railings and use that hole to snipe through. You can be pretty creative with it, but if you want the die-hard approach, then you can still plant a knife in the enemy's their back or neck, or detach a turret gun from its socket and just blast everybody to pieces. Now, to do this all as smoothly as possible on the PC, they had to port this game to the PC as good as they could. But to be honest, it feels more like this game was developed for the PC first and then ported to the consoles instead. Because I got no problems with using my old shooter skills from back in the days of Unreal Tournament games. Now, before I discuss the bad points, I have to add that this game promises to deliver around 10 to 12 hours on an average playthrough, which is quite accurately measured. I think I spent an equal amount on it. For a modern shooter these days, 10 to 12 hours is huge. So that alone should give you enough value for your money, right? Or does it? Now, the entire game is not without some minor faults and flaws, but like I said, they're just minor and can be easily ignored if you do not focus on them. Some of those flaws are that all items need to be picked up by hand, for example, meaning that you will have to manually aim at them and then pick them up with the grab button. Now normally this isn't a big problem in any game, but when you're in a firefight in an old school shooter and you have to quickly grab the guns of your fallen enemies, then this can disrupt the pacing of the gunfights quite a bit. Another minor flaw is that the energy weapons can only be charged at a charging station or nodes, but I think this is done on purpose to balance the game and limit the use of some of the more overpowered energy weapons. Another flaw I can't really ignore and look past is the fact that this game has a lot of indoor combat and corridor shooting. It doesn't allow you to explore on your own a lot. It is quite linear, and this is what was done better in Shadow Warrior, for example. And to be honest, it reminds me a little bit too much of Hard Reset, if you remember that game, which I didn't like that much as an old school shooter, although it wasn't bad in terms of the shooter elements in that game. Although I really missed huge open levels and big city urban fights in Wolfenstein The New Order, but I guess that's more like a personal preference of mine. The only level I can remember that is more open than the rest is the Camp Bellica, where you'll have a huge mech at your disposal and battle another mech. But that's about it, I think. And those that were expecting a new World War II shooter will be disappointed as well. But I personally am not bothered with the new setting of the Wolfenstein franchise. It is a little bit like a cyberpunk genre, which is also often set in the 1950s or 60s with a little touch of futuristic weaponry and gear, so it's not all that bad. Anyway, I think this all sums it up in a nice little review. It is a great shooter in its core, but I'm missing some nice level designing that isn't too linear. Is it worth the $50 or $60? I'm gonna say meh.
He said meh. M-E-H. Meh.
It depends on what you're looking for. It is a lot of fun as an old school shooter, but if you are having problems with claustrophobia, then I think you better proceed with caution. My name is Dreamon, the Belgian Waffle. I've been your host for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed watching it, and I'll see you guys next time. By the way, if you guys are able, please share and favorite these videos if you're already a subscriber. It would help me out a lot.